This team is a beautiful upset team, one that you don't really know where they're going to go and what they're going to do, but I like Frost's and Global's odds. This team looks scary on paper and has some pretty strong players in every role. Frost, if there's one thing that everyone knows about Frost and something you have to respect him for, is he can take a group of young, rookie, almost inexperienced players, and he can make them perform. He can make them reach a ceiling that they didn't even know they had. Yo YouTube, what's going on, and welcome back to another pick'em video. I feel like I've uploaded so many of these and that phrase just never ends. But Masters London is beginning in less than a week. I'm very excited to get back on into an international event. It's going to be really exciting to watch these teams perform because honestly, we have some new faces on the international stage. Some that we've seen in the past and some that we've never seen at all. And I mean, the Swiss stage is looking juicy. This event to me is so open because I think we're heading into a meta, or we're currently in a meta that almost thrives on fragging and superstars and confidence and momentum more than any other meta we've seen in recent times. So, I mean, let's get on into this. Like I said, I mean, my stocks in global are pretty high. I'll be honest, okay? And these pick'ems can be very silly, very stupid, but I'm here for the vibes. I'm predicting what is going to happen. I'm going to kind of take off my analyst cap and just kind of go straight into the deep end. So, Gili versus NRG. Okay, Gili Gaming, I got the opportunity to cast some of these Chinese games, so I've seen DRG, I've seen Gili, and honestly, the competition in China has increased. However, compared to a lot of the European, APAC, and North American teams, they are still going to have a challenge. Nevertheless, I'm going to predict NRG because I think that they are a team that you cannot ever count out. Their roster is super solid, super sturdy. I think that the Neon nerfs are massively going to help this team, allow Marder, potentially Kiko as well, to just play in roles that they can frag so heavily and carry within. And you just can't count out Brock in his current form. I do think that this could be a 2-1. I do think that Gili might have an ace up their sleeve. They have, of course, had so much time to prepare. And funny enough, I do live in London, and I did actually see some of the Gili players in a PC bang or a PC cafe at SideQuest. So they've been practicing already. They are ready to potentially upset NRG, but I am sadly going to have to vote for NRG in this opening match. But I do think that Gili can come back and maybe upset a team later down the line. Team Vitality versus DRG. This is where I want to get into it. Dragon Ranger Gaming. That is the team I'm going to go for. Okay, now let me explain this. I am not confident in Team Vitality whatsoever. Yes, they kind of went Super Saiyan within the playoffs of EMEA, but my lord, this team's structure and discipline, I would say, I have no faith in whatsoever. I think sure they were able to pick it up back in EMEA, but I think against a team like DRG, bro, let me tell you something about DRG, okay? They are all shooters. They are all shooters, okay? Everyone's hyping up Vukashu, and that's fair and fine. But Life is one of those players that if he starts warm and strong, he's going to be a nightmare for you. He's going to be an absolute nightmare. I think that Vitality will come into this relatively calm, relatively cool. But I'm telling you, if DRG win the pistol, they might be able to convert a bonus. Or even if they don't convert the bonus, I just think that if this team gets some momentum, Vitality are going to start to crumble. They're going to start to get nervous. And let me ask you a question. Who is the leader within this team? Because I still have no idea, okay? I'm going to save that kind of little segue of leadership into a potential article that I'm going to write, but anyway, we're going to go for an upset of DRG. If this doesn't happen, I do not care. I believe in DRG. The power of the dragon is going to come to fruition. Full Sense versus Foot. I think Full Sense might give Foot a good old spanking. I think Foot, they are a pretty strong team, but I do think against the Apex style, I think against Primi, Cruz, okay, Primi's goated, we all know that, okay, but Cruz as an IGL he is the best IGL in Pacific. Yeah. I think right now, with T1 not qualifying, with DRX struggling, I think with any team right now, I think Full Sense, Cruz, with the experience he got coaching, but also the form that Full Sense are currently in, I think that we are going to see Full Sense make an incredible run throughout all of the Swiss stage, and I think it's going to start with them beating Foot. Leviathan versus Global. Oh, what a banger of a game. I cannot wait. Bro, Frost, if you get O2 barbecued one more time, I'm done. Okay, I'm done. I'm retiring. But honestly, I think Global, I think Frost, the coaching staff of Global Esports, I genuinely think is going to dismantle Leviathan. I think the only issue that I have with Global is the potential starting nerves, maybe. Of course, that's pretty dumb and baseless to kind of say. But I think Leviathan, they are shooters. They are young rookies that are just happy to frag, happy to maybe slow the pace down. But I think Global are going to come into this match knowing exactly what maps they want to play, what maps are going to be picked, and they're going to have a shitload of ante on every single one of the maps. Those are my pick'ems. We're going to save that. And the team that I think are going to qualify into the playoffs is going to be Global, Full Sense, NRG. I think I'm going to go Lev. But I also want to draw your attention to this, okay? So I made a quick little slideshow of the potential matchups that we're going to get. So we've got the 0-1 teams on the right, and we've got the 1-0 teams. So if my pick'ems are correct, okay, we could potentially see a DRG versus GE matchup, which I think GE could win that. And if we get a Full Sense NRG match, oh, I'd be foaming at the mouth. And then, of course, if my pick'ems are correct, and that's the story that we go for, then we have a potential Vitality versus Leviathan, which would be a crazy, crazy exit for one of these teams, okay? And then XLG versus Foot. I think these would be some pretty exciting matchups because one of the goated teams that everyone's got high stocks in would have to leave the tournament early. And then XLG versus Foot, I think would allow one of these teams to have a potential run for that playoffs position. And it would really mix up the bracket. So, I mean, I still don't know who I want my fourth team to be because if let's say Full Sense win this game, and then NRG have to play against Lev or an XLG, I still think NRG make it regardless. Thing is, I have a vision of Lev kind of leaving early with all the high stocks they have. Let's do that. I'm confident in all three of these picks other than Lev. And I know that's stupid, but I genuinely have a lot of hope for Lev, but I also have seen this kind of story play out before where one of the goated teams in Americas or a region has really high potential, but they go to that international event and they kind of just crumble. Or they just get really unlucky within their first match. They get even more unlucky in their second draw, and they just get two really hard games. But anyway, let's leave that for a later discussion. These are my pick'ems. Tell me I'm stupid. Tell me I'm delusional. Tell me I'm a prophet. Tell me I know things that everyone else doesn't. But I'm excited. I think this tournament is going to slap, and I genuinely think that every single one of these matchups you have to give a 60-40% to, because I think this is so open. This is the most open it's ever been, within reason. I think if you're curious about a Global, you're curious about a Full Sense, an NRG, a Lev, they all have certain traits that others don't. Global, heavy prep, heavy ante. Frost is the go. His coaching staff are insane. Patman's Batman. Full Sense, they have Primi, shooters, Ty, incredible IGL. NRG, very flexible, has experience. Zoomers, shooters, the list goes on. any single one of these teams could qualify. I think if I was to have to predict the team that I have the least amount of hope for, it's probably Foot and probably Gilai, maybe. But honestly, I'm not even too certain in that. I would say Foot, for me, definitely don't go through. DRG, Gilai, they can definitely 1,000% upset one of these teams and potentially get a lucky second draw or third draw. But that's going to be my pick'em video. I'm going to do a little bit more content focused on London. So let me know if there's any particular videos that you want to see from certain teams, certain matchups. If you want me to VOD review something, let me know. I'm always here. And yeah, I appreciate everyone for watching this video.